Women are the kind of people that people come out of.
So you just think they're meant to have babies? That's
well,
it? They're just a vessel?
No, it doesn't take any talent to simply reproduce biologically. The wife and mother, who is the chief executive of the home, is entrusted with 3 or 4 or 5 eternal souls.
I'm here as a working journalist, and I'm a mom of 3.
Good for you.
Is that an issue for you?
No, it's not automatically an issue.
Christ Church senior pastor Doug Wilson is the leader of a Christian nationalist movement that believes in a patriarchal society where men are dominant and women are expected to submit to their husbands. Josh and Amy Prince, along with their 4 kids, moved from Washington State to Moscow, Idaho, where Wilson's movement is based.
Do you see Amy as your equal?
Yes and no, in the sense that we're both saved by grace. We're absolutely on equal footing, but we have very different purposes, God-given.
But do you see yourself as the head of the household, as the man?
He is the head of our household.
Yes.
Yes, and I do submit to him.
So like moving here
I was just
was
gonna say that.
ultimately your decision?
Yes.
That's a great
example.
Wilson says in his vision of a Christian society, women as individuals shouldn't be able to vote. His fellow pastors Jared Longshore and Toby Sumter agree.
In my ideal society, we would vote as households. And I would ordinarily be the one that would cast the vote, but I would cast the vote having discussed it with my household.
But what if there's your wife doesn't want to vote for the same person as you?
Right. Well, then that's a great opportunity for a good discussion.
There are some who have gone so far as to say that they want the 19th Amendment repealed.
I would support that. And I'd support it on the basis that the atomization that comes with our current system is not good for humans.
And Wilson, a veteran himself, is unapologetic about his view that women shouldn't be in certain leadership or combat roles.
Looking at the leadership page for Christ Church, it's all men. Do you accept women in leadership roles in the church and in government?
In the church, no.
Why?
Because the Bible says not to.
Well, that's not what happens in the Bible. Women do lead all the time.
Progressive faith leader Reverend Jennifer Butler is concerned about Wilson's growing influence.
He is rapidly gaining in power. He has hundreds of churches established around the country. They actually literally want to take over towns and cities, and they have access to this administration.
Wilson's highest level connection to the administration is Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
It's not organizationally tied to us, but it's the kind of thing we love to see.
For his part, Hegseth has publicly praised Wilson.
Now we're standing on the shoulders of a generation later, the Doug Wilsons and the others.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right. So guys, once people accuse the current government of having been involved in a certain project, clandestine project called 2025, but they denied it. And people believe this. I don't know whether they did so because of denial or because of how unbelievable the project sounded for it to be real,
Right.
But we're in a situation where the red flags are there and the signs are there. People need to be worried and people need to be alert. Why am I saying this? In today's episode, I feel like America is headed into dangerous times because I don't know how many of you have watched The Handmaid's Tale, and I suggest that if you've not watched that movie, please kindly go and look for it because the signs are there.
Right. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about, or rather yet, reacting to an interview that CNN did of a priest. I don't know how he got to this point, but anyway, guys, let's watch.
Major followers, and the things that this priest is saying, I just have to say, as a leader, as a religious leader, is quite concerning. And he used to be, he's a veteran, meaning he used to be in the army, right? So the things he's saying are quite worrying. And it's not only him. You look at the episode we did yesterday, you can look for that as well. This episode was about white men who are creating a white-only town,
So guys, let's watch and then you come back and talk about it. Because I believe we have a lot to debunk today.
Right.
And I also believe you have comments that you'd want to share with us. So please leave them on the comment section. And also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel. Let's watch and then we come back and talk about it.
I'm just going to say it. Are any Republicans going to come out here and denounce what Pete Hegseth posted, everyone's favorite DUI hire as Secretary of Defense, posted a video that says some questionable things. So I'll let you take a look and judge for yourself.
Wilson says in his vision of a Christian society, women as individuals shouldn't be able to vote. His fellow pastors, Jared Longshore and Toby Sumter, agree.
In my ideal society, we would vote as households. And I would ordinarily be the one that would cast the vote, but I would cast the vote having discussed it with my household.
But what if there's your wife doesn't want to vote for the same person as you?
Right. Well, then that's a great opportunity for a good discussion.
There are some who have gone so far as to say that they want the 19th Amendment repealed.
I would support that. And I'd support it on the basis that the atomization that comes with our current system is not good for humans.
He is the head of our household. Yes, and I do submit to him.
So like moving here
was
ultimately your decision.
Yes.
That's a great
example.
And Wilson, a veteran himself, is unapologetic about his view that women shouldn't be in certain leadership or combat roles.
Do you think we should repeal the 19th Amendment?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can see why.
I mean, we're never going to. I'm being realistic. That's never going to happen.
Right, okay.
I'm saying, like, it would have been better if we never had the 19th Amendment.
She doesn't want women to vote, is what Mary's saying here. I disagree.
I don't want
with
a lot
that.
of people to vote, but I mean, if we're going to start somewhere.
Sure.
Let's start there.
I think that you could be uneducated, like that doesn't have anything to do with your gender.
I just think that women are heavily influenced by groupthink, by emotions, collectivism, and are easily brainwashed, and that's why most of them vote for the left.
This is the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, and it was ratified August 18th of 1920. Here's what it says. The right of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So we have another voting amendment. There you have it, the 19th.
The Supreme Court is trying to hide its plan to prevent black people from voting and rig elections for Republicans. This is bad, like very, very bad. Last Friday, the Supreme Court dropped a hint towards their plan to destroy fair elections. You probably didn't hear about it, and that's part of the plan, according to Pema Levy and Mother Jones. The court's announcement that it'll pick up Louisiana v. Calais signals they're ready and eager to dismantle the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The monumental legislation was a major turning point for the civil rights movement, guaranteeing equal protection for minority voters and that their districts would fairly and accurately represent their populations. The Voting Rights Act was necessary because previously, white people literally owned black people, so finally giving them access to fair elections was the least we could do. The case in Louisiana was brought forth by a bunch of racist white people who say that the Voting Rights Act is racist against white people, saying that the equal treatment of minority voters is actually discrimination against white voters, partly because of racism, and also because people of color and black people are more likely to vote Democrat. Republicans want to make it so that they have the legal ability to gerrymander the shit out of the country to make it harder for their votes to count as much as white people's votes do. What's happening in Texas is just the beginning. All states will be able to gerrymander elections to serve the political party they favor, and a state that is only 40% white will be majority white controlled. None of what's happening is a coincidence. This is a well thought out, well coordinated, and well researched attack on many, many levels. Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation, along with other leading conservative figures, have been working on this plan since pre-Reagan, and their plan to capture all levels of government, including the courts, has worked. I usually try to end my videos with some hope, but for this one, I can't find it. This is just scary, and we will fight this together.
What is gerrymandering, and which political party is more guilty of this practice? Let's discuss it. Now, to understand what gerrymandering is and how it works, you first have to know that every 10 years, the United States Census will calculate the population throughout this entire country within each state. It will then be determined how many seats that your state will hold in the House of Representatives, depending on the population of your state. There are 435 seats in the House of Representatives. For example, the biggest state, California, has 52 seats in the House, whereas some of the smallest states like Wyoming has 1. And then once that process is done, your state is required to draw up the district lines, as you can see above me. And when a state legislature draws the district lines in a way that will massively benefit one party, we call that gerrymandering. And yes, both parties are guilty of this. But which party is more guilty of this? It's actually the Democrats, regardless of what the far left media tells you. For example, above me is the state of Texas. This is often referred to by the left as the most gerrymandered state in the country. Jasmine Crockett just constantly touts about how this state's lines are white supremacy and all this nonsense. But the reality is the 2024 election shows us otherwise. Yes, there was a discrepancy, but not much. Donald Trump would win this state by 14%, 56% to Kamala Harris's 42%. But Republicans actually only got like 66% of this state's congressional makeup, which is about a 32% victory, meaning the discrepancy is only 18 points. But Democrat states, yeah, the discrepancy is a lot more than 18 points. So, for example, in the state of Illinois, Kamala Harris would win this state by 11%. She got 54% of the vote to Donald Trump's 43% of the vote. However, as you can see from these ridiculously gerrymandered lines, yeah, Democrats got a lot more than 11% victory within the congressional makeup in Illinois, as Democrats would get 82% of this state's congressional makeup to Republicans' 18%. That's a plus 64, which makes it a 53-point discrepancy. 53 points! And for some more example, we have New Jersey here. Donald Trump loses the state by just 6. 52% for Kamala, 46% for Trump. Congressional makeup, Democrats get 75% to Republicans 25%. Plus 50. That means it's a 44% discrepancy. Lastly, we have California, and this one's really bad considering, that they have 52 representatives. Well, Kamala got 58% of this state's vote to Donald Trump's 39%. She won this state by 19 points. Yet Democrats got 83% of this state's congressional makeup, which is a 47-point discrepancy. So the real question to ask is, why the hell does the mainstream media obsess over the way that this state draws its lines, but overlooks the fact that this state, and this state are all drawing their lines in a much more gerrymandered fashion? And that's not my opinion, that's a fact. That's what the data shows us.
Ever wonder why it feels like your vote doesn't matter? It's called gerrymandering, my friends. It's when politicians redraw voter maps to essentially pick their voters instead of you picking them. They do this in two ways. One is pack. They concentrate oppositional voters into singular districts, so you may overwhelmingly win there, but nowhere else. Next is crack. They sprinkle oppositional voters among other districts where they will be swallowed up. Your blue dot in a red state. The result being that a party will win all of the seats even if they don't have all of the votes. Remember, we are working with the Electoral College. This is rigging the game, and it does happen on both sides, but we can very clearly see who is stacking the game right now.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know if you think about the videos we just played you, yeah? Let's talk about the priest, yeah, who is advocating for men being the head of the family. That I'm not arguing with. It could be a good thing, right? And the only thing that is bothering me right now is the fact that in their perfect society that they are trying to create, it would seem that women are only good for giving birth, right? And the way he describes women, I feel like I have a problem with that, but I don't know, guys. You as our audience would like to hear from you. What do you think about that? Men and women alike, what do you think about that whole scenario?
Right, as a woman, I will never understand the thinking of men, neither will I ever understand their psychology. So maybe some of you can help us understand how these men are thinking, because maybe some of you support them, maybe some of you don't, right? And my biggest question is, okay, I don't deny that women are the ones who give birth, but should you put it in such a belittling way? Because if these women, decide to close their legs,
how are they going to have children, right? The men that is, you have to respect
the person who gives life.
Let me not use the word perfect.
A balanced society.
A balanced society is the one that also has respect in it. But the way he's talking, it's like, who caused harm to these men? Because the way they're thinking is not like a normal man.
I'm even scared if I were to get into a relationship with a man who thinks like, God forbid, I would never. But if I were to, how would I even survive in such a? Because they look like such tyrants in their home,
Right.
Because for one, I really don't. I don't disagree with men leading the household. As a matter of fact, I find it as a good thing.
But good leader will
there's
always
a difference
be
there's a difference between good leadership and bad leadership.
Not even bad leadership. There's a difference between good leadership and just someone who thinks they're a leader and wants to impose their own
themselves as leaders. Because also leadership is shown through action, you know, because this is the perfect scenario where the husband is a good person. Can you imagine the scenario where the husband is not a good person?
Right.
What kind of imprisonment are you putting women into? And also, let's talk about the man who was talking about how they're creating that system where the women are not going to be allowed to vote. Rather, it's the man, the leader of the house, the head of the house, who's going to vote on the behalf of that household, you know.
And this is to say,
them talking like this, it's implying that men know what's best for women and the house
sometimes,
in general.
not all the time.
Yeah,
sometimes,
I also feel it's not in all situations.
Right, I feel like we all have something to give in different ways, and we all should appreciate each other's weaknesses and strengths alike. And I feel like there's a reason why people, even twins, we are not born at the same time. People are born as individuals, and therefore they have their own individuality, they have their own minds, they have their own process of thinking, you know, and that is the reason
we might
why
influence each other on how we vote when it comes to election, but it doesn't always have to be the same. Although for the most part it is.
But people have their own opinion, and that is the reason why you will find even in the fashion industry, people have different styles. You know, the way I dress might not necessarily be the same way Maureen dresses, or that's not a perfect example. The way I dress might not be the exact same way my friend dresses, my best friend, you know. People have very different styles, meaning people have different thinking capacity and different brains. It does not mean that, I do believe that even during the past election that just concluded in America, even in household, we saw families being divided because they didn't think the same, they didn't agree on the same things, you know. So what is then going to happen in this perfect society they are creating, right? What is going to happen in a household where a wife does not agree with the husband when it comes to casting the same type of vote? What will happen in that situation where a wife believes in this type of candidate and the husband believes in this type of candidate? What is going to happen in that situation, you know?
Yeah, because I do believe that we are all humans, and more often than not, we will have different opinions and we'll have different points of views, especially when it comes to things political or religion, you know. Because just as Marina said, last year alone, we saw a lot of divorces happening. We saw a lot of boyfriends and girlfriends splitting up just because of how a woman chose to vote and how a man chose to vote, meaning they did not reach a consensus of voting for the same person. And furthermore, each disagreed with what each decided to vote for, and this caused separation. So in this people's perfect world, the man will vote, and that will be the final word of what the man wants, you know,
to represent the household.
To represent the household. But
that's
what if a woman,
I feel like that is a sheep mentality.
Exactly.
You go, this one, somebody has decided we are going to do this, we all follow, you know.
Even if you have different opinions. And what bothers me even the more is how these men, how these men are using the Bible, twisting what the Bible say in order to fit their narrative, you know, because it is this very same Bible that they also misused in order to keep their slaves in tune,
and in order to colonize,
and in order to also colonize here in Africa. So sometimes people just use the Bible in the wrong way.
And also, I have to also point out something, guys. I feel like these people have been they sound like they've been programmed, because, for example, the man and wife who were being interviewed, and they said, there's a word they said, when the interviewer asked the woman and the man, she asked, was this your decision to move here? And there's something they both say, they just don't remember and they forgot to note it down. It sounded like they were programmed. It sounded like they had been rehearsing for when they asked that question, this is how we answer, you know, something like it's for the best of, I don't remember, but it sounded programmed, you know, until I'm asking myself, you know, it's not by coincidence that you see a town somewhere where they want only white people to go there, and in that white people society they have a structure where women are staying at home and men are going out to fend, you know.
Yeah, sometimes I usually thank God that yes, I would like to visit America, you know. I would like to see how the world of America looks like, but sometimes I usually thank God because of situations like this that I'm not in America. Of
It's
course,
like it's different fractions that are coming
up, and they're all coming up at once, because this one is attacking the religious side of America.
The white only
town, the white only town that was being started in Arkansas, yeah, that is attacking the social structure of America. And then finally, when they also have someone in the government who is listening to them. So when they all finally merge, I feel like this thing will blow up very, very bad. And I do feel like
this is handmaid's tales in the making.
This is handmaid's tales in the making, because also in some of the clips we had an interview of these white women who are being asked if women should not be allowed to vote, and they genuinely believe that women should not be allowed to vote. And I do feel like they're seriously putting the progress of women behind hundreds of years, you know, because like, why would you even want that
for your fellow women?
Want it for yourself, and don't be going to vote, but don't want it for every other person who hasn't said that they don't want that, because automatically, should some of these things pass in America, it means that also women will not be allowed to work. And if women are not allowed to work,
there are other women who are going to suffer.
Because we have also single mothers, we have women who've never been married, and if you don't have a man to take charge of you, how will you survive?
Yeah, we are
getting new world.
We are getting out. We are looking also at those ones who are trying to get out of abusive marriages.
Exactly.
So there's a whole other layer of things that people need to look at before they open their mouths to decide for others. Because this woman, it's like she looks so nonchalant when she's speaking, and she's like, you know, she's okay when she's saying
those rights being stripped away.
And you're like, it's clear that this lady has not educated herself about why those
women wanted to have those rights in the first place.
Yeah, and another thing I wanted to say, please do not allow Americans be very vigilant. Do not allow one group to be attacked, because if you sit down and say this does not concern me, this is opening a leeway to other groups being attacked. First of all, it's gonna be women's rights being taken away. Secondly, it's gonna be people of color and black people who are being denied the rights to do this and this. It's like they're going to weaken, you know, the
social standing that you already have,
and the unity that you could have when you're fighting for things, you know.
Right. And also another thing I wanted to ask is, if in this church where this man leads, it has only male leadership. So who helps the women if they have women issues that needs to be not arrested, but that needs to be addressed by the church? Who helps the women? Because men, much as I will never understand men issue because I'm not a man, it's the same way I feel like men can sympathize with female issues, but they won't understand all of female issues. You get what I'm saying? And so this leads me to another question I wanted to ask you, Maren. Because guys, we all see where this is going, and women will stop working if this kind of government takes hold, right? If this kind of ideology succeeds, you know. So Maren, the biggest question I wanted to ask that I saw in America, and it is also becoming rampant with Kenyan politicians, you know, some politicians in Kenya, and I heard in America also, want female officers to be fired. What do you think about that?
That's a big question, guys. Can we just take a minute to like process what this is, what this means? Some people do not want female officers in law enforcement. You know, I feel like for the most part, I do understand, and I do understand why there's reasoning in that line. So I do believe that women are needed to be in certain industries, because I feel like even in police departments, I feel like there's some things that male cops will not do because they are aware of the presence of a female cop, you know. And for example, I feel like not everybody is a good person. Much as you might have a few good people amongst you, there are those ones who obviously always take advantage of situations. In these jail cells that you're saying women should not belong in a police department, are you only going to be arresting men? If so, then it's okay. But if even women also are going to be arrested, then where a woman is, you also need to have a woman in a leadership position or just in a whatever position to be involved, because only a woman can look out, even if they don't look at the interest of other women, but they can know what other women need, you know.
Right. Okay. For me personally, I feel like for those championing for females to be removed from law enforcement, you know, and the military, I do feel like there are certain positions that women should not be allowed to have, although there are other positions that women should be allowed to have.
It's mandatory for them to have.
Yeah. Which positions should women not be included? When men are going to battlefields, women should not accompany them there.
That's a controversial one. People,
people have. Okay, no, not the way that you're thinking, guys. You know, as a female, a lot can happen to me out there. A lot can happen to me out there.
Okay, guys, let's just speak without getting angry, just in the sense
I do
of
feel like when going to battlefields, men are more productive than women. Like, yes, there are a few strong women who can handle their own out there, but
you picture when
one woman gets caught by an enemy, what can happen to that woman?
A lot can be done.
So in that scenario, women should not even be allowed to enlist for field work like that.
But administrative duties,
they can do that, you know. And also, okay, so guys, you know. So there are certain positions that women should not have, although they shouldn't be completely excluded from law enforcement. They should be given other tasks, you
guys, we'd like to hear your opinion on that as well.
Exactly. So guys, let us know what you think about this episode, and also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel, and we'll see you on our next episode.
And remember, go and watch Handmaid's Tale if you've not watched.
Please watch.
And for
Handmaid's
those ones who watched and you've reached this far, we'd like to hear with a hi emoji as usual, right? Let's mark the register, and then also let us know what you think about this whole scenario, because it's not a coincidence that right now this institution is popping up,
and it seems wrong,
right?
This institution is popping up, but since it is not widespread, nobody cares about it. And this another institution is popping up, but since it's not widespread, nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, you'll find
all
yourself
of them combined, you find
it becomes a whole huge society that people might be forced to conform to.
Right,
and the time comes.
Right, and you'll find yourself living in a Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, one morning
without the uniform.
Right, one morning you'll just be waking up just like in the Handmaid's Tale, and you're going to work. You find somebody on the doorstep of your workplace, and you're being denied entry. You're being told as a woman to pack your things. The men need to work. When you're trying to
go to your bank to withdraw your money,
you're told you don't have any rights because you're a woman. You need to come with a male representative, be it your husband or your brother or whoever, whatever male that is in your life, that is the person who needs to represent you to withdraw your own hard-earned money savings, you know.
Of which, you know, to some extent, I do believe that not all men are evil, right? There are some men who are capable of leading and they can lead you well. However, there are a few. The way usually it's said, in a market you don't miss a few mad men, you know. So likening that to the population of men,
in today's society, the mad ones are topping the scale. I have to say, we have a whole president somewhere who has a rap sheet of, you know, who calls himself a leader, allegedly rap sheet of criminal offense activities, you know.
Allegedly. Guys, let us know what you think about this episode. Also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel. We'll see you on our next episode.
Right.